Hello, this is McGarren. Just giving you another demonstration on the layers assignment. You should have downloaded this layer assignment from Canvas. Here I have a folder grouping of the shapes, a folder grouping of the painted shapes, and then the text. What we want to do first is repeat all of these shapes. So I'm going to select the shapes box that is red, and I'm going to press Control C or Command C for copy, and then Command V for paste. You can see that it created a second layer that has the same name and title, and this top layer is the layer that I just shifted down. So I'm going to take all of these shapes here, go to my Move tool, and shift them down. Go into the shapes of the circlish and drop that. And also with the polygon. So I'm going to title this Shapes box, Shapes to Paint From. So this is going to be the only box that I'm going to have open. Select all of these. We're going to go with no color and leave those shapes as the primary color. Now I go with this rectangular-ish shape. That's what it's titled, rectangular-ish. I'm going to create this painting by color selecting the red. I don't care if you pick a different color or the same color. It doesn't make much of a difference. I'm going to open up my color palette a little bit more and press Alt when I get my paintbrush, and I will select that red. Now each one of these layers, this is a normal layer. At the top, this one will be a dissolved layer, this one will be a difference layer, and then this one will be the layer of your choice. So I want you to copy them the way that they currently are in terms of their shapes, the soft value transition or hard value transitions or color transitions. And then you're going to apply the layer attribute to those shapes after you've painted them. So I'll quickly paint them as an example to show you how to do it. Make sure that when you're painting these, that you are painting them on a different layer from your shapes, because if you paint them on the same shape layer, then the filter attribute will change that line. And I want you to keep that line separate from what you're going to be painting. I'm going to also take the magic wand tool and select inside of it. You can see the little marching ants that are along the contour. And that means whatever I paint inside those marching ants is gonna show up, and anything that I paint outside the marching ants is not going to show up. So I'm gonna click Shift and then click so I can draw a straight line. Now that it's relatively close to what I've done, I need to get these nice little transitions that are in the smaller shapes. So this is where I make my brush smaller. Now I've noticed that I painted into that layer on the bottom right. I want to separate that layer because I don't want the adjustments to be made to the selection. So I'm going to do Control or Command X and then Control or Command V, and it will paste that back in there. Go to the Move tool. I can select it and link it up into that area. Now I'm going back to the dissolve layer, which is this nice little circle shape, which is titled Circlish. I'll go into the Circlish and select Magic Wand tool. Select it. I can see the marching ants. Now I'll go to my brush tool and I'll pick a color that is relatively close to what the color is there. Again, I'm wanting you to focus on creating the same shape, not necessarily the same color values. So I'll go with a bigger brush, and then I'll make it a little bit smaller. Okay, that's pretty close. And then it's a little bit lighter on the edges here, a little bit lighter on the edges there, and darker on those edges. So those are the things I'm gonna make changes to. So I'll zoom in. Now for this next shape, I'm gonna just color select from this layer. It's called polygon. Before I color select in there, I wanna make a selection. So there I have my marching ants. Now I'll go to my paintbrush, press Alt, color pick. You can see that the green changed over here. Now I'm gonna fill in that shape. With this one, I'm gonna pick a hard-edged brush and go really big. And this is easier to do without the pen tool. I'd recommend using the mouse or mouse pad, because we're gonna do the click, shift, click to get good straight edges and lines. So here we have this lighter value that we need to get. I'm gonna shrink it down a little bit more, press Alt, take that color, and then I'm going to use my mouse and click right there, the edge of the paintbrush. Click, drag it over here, shift, click. See how it made a straight line? I'm going to go down to the bottom corner, click, up into this edge, shift, click. That didn't quite line up, so I'm going to do Command Z. So I'll go down to the bottom here, click, shift, click, makes a nice straight line, shift, click. Now I need to get that nice darker value that's sitting right in between the light and dark value. So I'll press my Alt button, find that darker value, make a smaller brush. It's about that size. I'll click it right here, shift, and click. And it's pretty close. It's just a little bit big, but that's okay. Then I will just quickly demonstrate this last layer and then show you how to adjust the layer properties. Now that I have all these layers created, I've copied these shapes. Now I'm going to change the layer properties. So for the dissolve layer, I'm going to go up to my layer. The rectangle is normal, so I'm not going to change anything on that. This is my dissolve layer. So I have layer 2 as my dissolve. I'm going to go up to where it says normal, click on it, go to dissolve, and notice what happens. It makes it more pixelated. So it should not look like this. I want you to use this as a reference to copy, but I want you to change the different layer attributes and thereby a different look. The difference layer. So now we go to the second one, layer 3. We have it selected. It says normal on the layer, and we're going to go to difference, and notice what happens. So difference tends to make things more of a complementary in terms of color and value. And then the layer down here is going to be your choice layer. So scroll down right above the weird star, double check it by hiding it, bring it back, and you can select a different layer attribute. Luminosity goes grayscale. So if I have it set to multiply layer, notice what happens when I drag this multiply layer on top of an opaque layer. Multiply layer just makes it like a glaze in painting. It's a transparent layer that sits on top of it, and it will darken values and sometimes make it even more saturated. So that's it. Once you've made the changes to each of these, the difference layer, dissolve layer, your choice layer, which would be multiply, and normal layer, then take this assignment and save it as 150 DPI, and that is what you'll submit to the assignments.